This is not a Q&A, this is a cry for help. Are you here for a Q&A, a structured video? Organized thoughts from a sane individual? Yeah, no, that's not happening. Because apparently I asked for questions and you goobers collectively said, nah, I'm gonna let Folded freestyle their downfall. So now instead of a Q&A, you're getting a live broadcast of my brain fighting for its life in the digital trenches. What the flip? What's up guys, Folded Legs here. Gameplay in the background as usual, completely unrelated, spiritually disconnected, and probably doing more heavy lifting than I am mentally right now. Quick preview of what you actually signed up for today. It's me versus my own bad decisions, me versus gravity, me versus electronics, and my brain randomly unplugging mid-sentence like it pays rent in a completely different zip code. This isn't a video. It's a highlight reel of questionable life choices and the immediate consequences of my own actions. Also, real quick, genuinely, thank you for being here. You could be doing literally anything else with your time. You could be learning a skill, improving your life, touching actual grass. But instead, you're here watching me slowly get cooked by my own existence. That's commitment. I respect that level of dedication to the madness. All right, enough yapping like an annoying cat at 3 a.m. Let's get into the chaos before something in my house spontaneously breaks again. Section 1. Why is my life a targeted attack? Why does every beverage I own have a premeditated hit out on my bank account? I could have a $2 plastic cup sitting next to a $1,200 piece of technology, and the liquid develops sentient aimbot. It doesn't spill randomly. It's not an accident, it's a surgical strike. It looks at the coaster, looks at the floor, and says, nah, I'm going for the motherboard. Let's make this expensive. I could have a grip strength that would make a rock climber jealous. Perfectly stable, absolute unit of a hold. But the nanosecond I relax, bam, gravity clocks in for a double shift and chooses violence. And it's never the cheap stuff. I could dump a gallon of water on a boulder and the boulder is fine. The boulder is having a great Tuesday, but the moment I'm near a circuit board, physics decides it's time for a performance art piece about my downfall. Why are my electronics so dramatic? My floor, thriving. My table, solid. My soul, already evaporated. But my gadgets? They act like Victorian orphans who caught a slight breeze and decided to give up on life. One drop hits the case and suddenly it's, tell my family I love them, the light is fading. I am going to the great cloud in the sky. Sir, it was a lukewarm latte. Get back to work. This is actually insane. The timing is the most disrespectful part. It literal waits until I am at maximum vibe, blanket tucked, posture optimized, snack within reach. The universe sees me smiling and says, oh, you think you're allowed to enjoy things? That's a felony. Spill, glitch, emotional explosion. I'm being studied like a lab rat in a government test called How Many Monitors Can One Person Mourn Before They Snap? Normal people watch a funny video and laugh. I watch a funny video and it becomes a catastrophic financial event. Phone slips, drink tilts. My own desk turns into a co-conspirator. Suddenly I'm not laughing. I'm calculating repair costs and filing a mental insurance claim while crying in 4K. Is this a skill issue, or do I have active galactic opposition? Somewhere out there is a leaderboard for world's easiest targets, and I've been the undisputed global champion for 6 years running. I'm not even asking for a good day anymore. Just give me 20 minutes where I can drink a juice box and own a computer in the same zip code without it turning into a Dark Souls boss fight. Section 2, brain buffering mid-sentence like it's 2007. I'll be talking confidently, passionately, like I'm delivering a TED Talk that's about to change the course of human history. And then right at the climax, my brain hits Alt plus F4 and deletes the entire directory. Just gone. I'm standing there like, so basically the core of the issue was what? What was the core? Now I'm staring into the void like I just opened a door and realized my soul didn't follow me into the room. Except the room is my own sentence and I've locked the keys inside. And the worst part, people are waiting. They're looking at me with hope in their eyes, expecting a grand finale. I'm looking back like, why are you asking me? You were here. We were in this together. Help me. My ADHD and autism are basically toxic coworkers who decide to clock out early right when the shop gets busy. They just drop the apron and walk into the sunset mid-conversation. And then the panic sets in, because now I look like a glitched NPC whose dialogue script just hit a 404 error. So instead of recovering like a functional adult, I go into aggressive self-roast mode. I'm internally screaming, bro, focus, reboot, finish the thought. Like yelling at my gray matter is going to magically fix the hardware. It doesn't. Now I'm just furious and confused. The conversation goes from normal to me fighting a 1v1 battle against my own consciousness until I finally just rage quit my own thoughts. Nah, I lost it. Never mind. The thought has been evicted from the premises. Who approved this character build? Who looked at this wiring and said, yeah, ship it, this is fine for public use? Because respectfully, this is a disaster. At this point, I'm requesting a lifestyle downgrade. Just make me a pet. No responsibilities, no complex syntax, no mid-sentence buffering, just pure vibes. You feed me, I sit there, maybe I bark at a leaf for 20 minutes, and then I nap dramatically. Nobody expects a cat to finish a political argument. That is a career path I can actually succeed in. Because right now, every interaction feels like I'm speedrunning a sentence, and my brain keeps unplugging the controller right before the boss fight. Is this a skill issue? Or was I just born with a brain that periodically deletes temporary files to make room for 2007 memes nobody asked for? Section 3. My brain says, this is fine, right before ruin. Ever had a moment where something catastrophic happens and your soul just exits the building? You don't scream. You don't move. You just sit there like a glitched NPC while your brain tries to calculate the exact dollar amount of the stupidity you just committed. My brain thrives in that silence. It lives for the moment right after it cost myself money being an absolute moron. I managed to convince myself my phone was literally immortal. Not durable, immortal. Why? Because I lost it in actual hurricane floodwater. It went on a nautical side quest. I fished it out, dried it off, ... and it worked. A sane person says, wow, that's a miracle. My brain said, oh, so it's a god. It cannot be killed by mortal means. So naturally, I hit it with a hammer. Just testing the limits like I'm running a low-budget, high-danger science experiment in my living room, and that is when it died, not the flood. Not the wrath of God, just me with a hammer, acting like a caveman who just discovered tools and immediately used them to ruin his own life. Why does my consciousness whisper, this is safe, right before I make a decision that voids my existence? The universe just leans in and whispers, you absolute clown, right before the screen goes black. Then there's the medical grade laughing. I'm talking about laughing so hard you physically take internal damage. Your chest is collapsing, your vision is spotting, and you're starting to see your ancestors waving at you from the afterlife. It stops being comedy and starts being a respiratory crisis. But I'm committed to the bit, even if it sends me to the AA, which leads to the classic, the phone-to-face heat-seeking strike. Why is gravity so incredibly talented? It doesn't miss. It doesn't hesitate. It lines up the trajectory with the precision of a professional sniper. It's not a bonk. It's a personal betrayal delivered at terminal velocity. You're just lying there, eyes watering, holding your face like, why am I like this? The answer is always the same, because I let guard down. I thought for one single second I could relax without the physical world checking my chin. And don't even get me started on chairs. I have been evicted from furniture by my own sense of humor, not a slip. A full-on, gravity-enforced relocation to the floor. The universe just looks at me and says, "Your sitting privileges have been revoked." Now I'm on the carpet, questioning my entire lineage, still cackling like a lunatic while my dignity takes a bus out of town. If I'm enjoying myself, I already know the truth. Pain is loading, and it's bringing a hammer. Don't expect miracles. Alright, I am going to attempt emotional maturity for exactly 60 seconds. It feels wrong. It feels like a fish trying to ride a bicycle. First off, the heart. I still hadn't seen a specialist. I know, it's a terrible decision, but we love a consistent character arc in this house. The good news? My heart isn't doing the aggressive techno remix quite as often lately. So we're moving from immediate cardiac event to vague internal mystery. Progress. I have been in this exact spot for a full 24-hour stretch. At this point, I have evolved past the need for the outside world. As for the computer, I didn't cry my tear ducts are as dry as my social life, but I did stare at the black screen with the silent, vibrating intensity of 1,000 suns. I have been gaslit by a motherboard. My hardware literally waited for me to reach peak frustration just to prove it could survive me. Every sentence is a high-stakes negotiation. I press the R key and it looks at me like, "What have you done for me lately?" It's a keyboard with a personality disorder, and we are witnessing the breakdown in real time. You could be doing literally anything else with your life, but instead, you're here watching me slowly become part of the furniture. That's wild commitment. I love that for us. Alright, that's enough vulnerability before my brain starts throwing blue screen of death errors.